is Sunday Live.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Sunday Live. I'm your host today. Per usual, it's me, Mike, the Fantasy Hitman Wright of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Thank you for joining me for this Sunday morning occasion where we all talk about the news, we talk about injuries, start-sit decisions, and we all tilt together. Thank you, Brooks, the producer extraordinaire, currently the reigning supreme best producer in-house of the Fantasy Footballers as of this moment in time.
Wow, what an honor. Thanks, Mike. What an intro.
You're very excited. You're welcome, Brooks. You are currently welcome. He's my best friend today. Welcome in. Thank you for joining me. If you've never been here, hey, what's up? How y'all doing? I know that there's a lot going on in this particular morning. Thank you for joining me. Here is how this show works. I talk about all the news, which there is a lot, but you know what there's not in today, Brooks? You know what I don't have to spend 15 freaking minutes talking about?
The weather.
The weather. There's the giant weight of the weather has been lifted off my back for 1 week, and I'm certainly 1 week alone. I bet we'll be back to talking about that next week. But we talk about that, the big picture, things that it is affecting these injured players who are questionable, and then we get into the rankings. TheFantasyFootballers.com, that's where our rankings live. That's where they breathe. I was just spent the morning updating them, getting them where I want them. We'll continue to do that after the show as all the news is filtering in, because you got it. That part of fantasy football, man, there's news coming to us right now as we speak. And then we get into the rankings are there, but we try to look at the players who are trending. The start-sit tool, it is available to you right now. TheFantasyFootballers.com. Put in player X, player Y. We will tell you what our rankings say. We'll give you a bunch of the reasoning to help you make your own decision. Which player would you play in that matchup? If you are a kind supporter of this podcast, jointhefoot.com. You get access to the 4-player start-sit tool, as long as some really other cool stuff, an extra podcast every week, a whole bunch of tools, including the schedule-adjusted points update that we have just put through to the Stream Finder. We put it through to the Strength of Schedule tool as well, so you can check that out if you would like. But those are the trending players. It ends up that there's a handful of players who are really having the big questions. We take a look at that. We see who's trending there, and then I get into questions from the people. Brooks, are you well this morning?
I'm great, Mike.
You're not tilting over any big decisions yet?
I've got one. I'm pretty much just locked in.
What is it?
Melvin Gordon with his questionable kind of status. I'm sure he's fine,
sure.
But I'm worried about
we'll be talking about him in a second.
Him or J.K. Dobbins.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Well, let's get into it.
The big picture.
At the quarterback position, Mac Jones will be out, so zap will be playing yet again. Most quarterbacks would certainly miss 4 to 6 more weeks, but it sounds like we might have Mac Jones back sooner than later. Look forward to him coming back. Tua of the Miami Dolphins, he is out yet again. I believe the last I had heard, though, is him and Teddy Bridgewater have made their way through the concussion protocol. They are being extra super-duper careful. Don't blame them. I'm very happy that they are taking their extra time with Tua. We need to make sure that this dude is okay. Brain stuff can be very scary, but I do believe that Tua is going to be on the football field sooner than later. Dak Prescott, not expected to play. Come on, Dallas. Come on. He was sitting in my IR. If you play on the sleeper platform, Dak's sitting in my IR. If you have an ineligible player in your IR, you can't change your starting lineup, which that's fine. I get it. You want to have for the roster a fair and a roster that is up to date with the current rules, so you can't make a move. But because it's Sunday night, I had to make a decision. So Dak Prescott currently on the waiver wire now. So thanks for that, Dallas Cowboys, you turds. But he's not expected to play because he's not going to play. but we might have him back next week. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor. Whoo, boy, out. So I would guess that we will see him again next week. He was getting in the limited practices. Honestly, if you have Taylor, this really is what needs to happen. You need to suffer for 1 week without him, get a replacement in there, but it's better that he's actually healthy and not playing very hobbled, because then it just continues through the rest of the season. So look at it glass half full there. Jonathan Taylor will be back, and he should be healthy. Unfortunately for the Colts, Nyheim Hines will also be out. Mr. Jackson should get a bunch of carries, and, he was okay last week. He was the one who caught the passes as well. If you're going that direction, I did have a reminder that the lowest over-under of the week currently is the Colts versus the Jags. The Colts are sitting at an implied team total of 21.5 points, which is also the lowest of any team that is favored currently this week. So it's not necessarily the best situation, but desperate times, right? Cam Akers. Woo! What is going on with Cam Akers? He is out for personal reasons. I don't think we really have – we don't have anything concrete of what's going on with the Rams. You can make your speculation. What we do know is Cam Akers, going back to the playoffs through now, has one good game. That was against the Arizona Cardinals. All the other games have not just been, well, he's all right. They've been bad. And that sucks for Cam Akers to come back from such a devastating injury, but in football, it is a performance business. He is not performing. My hunch is he was going to get a demotion, or Henderson was going to at least see more time of the timeshare. Cam Akers did not take too kindly to that, and now there's talks of they're going to try and trade him. Good luck with that, Los Angeles, but someone may be, really in need, and they want to go out and get Cam Akers. Damian Harris is out for the Patriots. Good news here, though. Raheem Mostert is in. He was, we had a little bit in the middle of the week there where we weren't sure what was going on. He was getting rest. He was not practicing, but he's in. He's healthy. If the snaps continue, Raheem Mostert moving forward he should be a running back too. Alexander Mattison will play, so he's going to keep taking those third downs from Dalvin Cook as well as the passing work. Now here we are to Melvin Gordon. Questionable, but he's Monday night.
Well, Mike, I actually, from about 20 minutes ago, Benjamin Albright tweeted he's expected to play.
Okay.
In reply to someone asking about it.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really comforting to me.
Ben Albright, very plugged in for the Broncos. We like to hear that because the matchup is juicy against the Los Angeles Chargers. I talked about it. They are bleeding points. They're giving up like top 6 production essentially every single week to the fantasy running back position. But he's questionable for Monday night. So what that means is even though he's expected to play, you could get into warm-ups and something could happen. You have to be ready. Brooks, can you look up Mike Boone's rostered percentage for me and Latavius Murray? So
yes, sir.
Basically, like if Melvin Gordon misses, then to me, Mike Boone becomes a very interesting play. He has juice. Like, he is an explosive running back. And if he gets an opportunity against the Chargers, I think that he could be a very good fantasy player and have a good statistical day. Latavius Murray, I don't know, man. I watched him play for the Baltimore Ravens last year. It was not good. I know that he had a solid game out for the practice squad, but the older players can do this where they come out and they have, a good game or two, but then the NFL catches up to them. So I would be a little worried that I have to play Latavius Murray. But if you're waiting on Melvin Gordon, you need to be prepared.
Boone is only half a league, so I thought he'd be higher than that. So.
All right, so it could be Latavius Murray. Either way, be prepared for a Gordon absence. Now here's the tough wide receiver one, T. Higgins of the Cincinnati Bengals. He is an elite fantasy player. Trying to monitor this situation. We did have a tweet about 45 minutes ago from Kelsey Conway, who is a Cincinnati Bengals beat reporter. And she said that during the warm-ups, T. Higgins mostly looked like his explosive self, but she did see him cringing a few moments. So it's clearly still painful, but it's good to see that, at least to her, it seems like he still is explosive. He is a very, very sketchy start, though, this week. Could he be a decoy? He could re-aggravate and be out very quickly. Here's the deal for me. T. Higgins currently is sitting at my wide receiver about 33, and I feel like I'm okay with this ranking because right behind him is like DJ Moore, Devin Duvernay. Like, I would take the risk of T. Higgins giving me that big old fat goose egg. I would take it over DJ Moore and Devin Duvernay against the Giants. I mean, Duvernay, he's fine with Bateman missing time, but or I should say he's been fine, but he's not like this huge ceiling player unless he catches 3 passes and 2 of them are touchdowns. Could happen. But for fantasy purposes and probability, I will risk it with T. Higgins over that level of a wide receiver. But this is, you've been warned. You have been warned. I have T. Higgins on my League of Record team. Right now I'm looking at, Lazard, Kareem Hunt, A.J. Dillon, these guys who aren't necessarily in fantastic positions this week that I'm going to be playing over T. Higgins. Wan'Dale Robinson of the New York Giants, let's go. He is easily the stash of the morning. He is going to be active. Pick him up. He may not do much at all today because he really hasn't seen much NFL action, but the Giants desperately need him. He has that video game joystick twitch and speed. He's a very interesting player. The Giants are a good team, and they need help at the wide receiver position, so stash him if you can. Jacoby Myers will be playing for the Patriots. That's great news because he's been fantastic. Zay Jones is in. Marvin Jones is out for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are very shallow at the wide receiver position in this game against the Colts. With it being Christian Kirk and Zay, I mean, both of those guys are in play to me against the Colts. They're not a scary defense. Zay Jones has been a very safe floor play, has a little bit of a ceiling. So he is in for me if I need him as like that flex wide receiver 3-ish type. Julio Jones is out forever. I mean, who knows what's going on. It's really unfortunate, but his body seems like it might be done playing football. Chris Olave with the concussion for the New Orleans Saints. Things were going in the right direction. This is, I think, a pretty definitive moment in the way that concussions are going to be handled this year, at least in the NFL, where Olave had the concussion. It was, at the time, I mean, he was out. He was out cold. It was not one of those things when you're watching, you go, ooh, that, like, you feel it. You feel it on a personal level watching someone else get hurt like that. But he said after the game he had no symptoms. Progressed quickly through the process. Was on stage 3 saying, I still don't have symptoms. And here we are. Chris Olave is out. I imagine, had the stuff with Tua not happened, Chris Olave would be playing right now. The protocols have changed a little bit. So here we are. If you have a player with a concussion on Sunday, be prepared that they will not be playing the next week. Nelson Aguilar is out for the Patriots. Robbie Anderson is questionable for the Panthers, and it sounds like if anyone's going to get traded from Carolina, it's probably going to be Robbie Anderson. Now we have a couple Rams here. I'm going to link Tyler Higbee, Cooper Kupp. They're both expected to play. They're both afternoon games. They were getting limited practices in. I mean, McVay said they're expected to play, so I'm moving forward as if they're going to play. And if they play, I mean, they're in, right? Like Cooper Kupp, of course, but I'm saying Tyler Higbee at the tight end position, he's in. He's just getting so much volume. CeeDee Lamb expected to play as well. Keenan Allen for the Chargers is doubtful. It's Monday night. Get out of there, man. Do not worry about Keenan Allen. Let one more week. The fact that he is upgraded to doubtful, maybe we will get questionable next week.
Let's
and then,
mark him out, though, Chargers. Come on. Right, Mike?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm totally with you. I was overlooking that because I'm not personally affected by the Keenan Allen situation. But, yeah, Chargers, you're gaining nothing. You put him as doubtful. They're not expecting him to play. They are not game planning just in case Keenan Allen gets on the field. Mark him out. There are so many benefits for you, for me, for Brooks, for the fantasy football community. Just mark him out. Goodness gracious. Kyle Pitts is going to play football for the Falcons. Okay. Okay. Honestly. Okay. That's all I can say about that. And Hayden Hurst is going to play as well. Brooks, has the computer gobbled up and absorbed all the information that it needs? Thank you.
He's so hot right now.
Again, the start-sit tool is available to you right now, thefantasyfootballers.com. If I don't touch on a player that you want to hear about, just go on over there. You can plug them in, see what we have to say. Brooks, who's trending, who's hot right now?
All right, Mike, number one player trending is Eno Benjamin.
Oh, let's go.
It's got some tough choices for you. You're going to play Eno or that's Eno versus Seahawks.
Yes.
Or Jeff Wilson versus the Falcons.
Okay. You are correct. That is a very difficult decision because I was ready to just unload and talk about here's the situation for Eno Benjamin. The second highest over-under of the week is the Arizona Cardinals against the Seattle Seahawks, a few points behind the Bills-Chiefs game. Cardinals sitting at -2.5 currently, at least the line that I have in front of me, with an implied team total of 26.5 points. This is juicy. We want to be involved. The Cardinals running back position, it still has fantasy value, especially when we have consolidated. James Conner is out. Darrell Williams is out. Jonathan Ward is on the IR. We will likely see Keontae Ingram, but he's a fifth-rounder, if I recall correctly, fifth-round rookie, and Eno Benjamin has been on this team for years. This is Eno Benjamin's moment. This is his opportunity to shine. Can he come through? That's TBD. But the volume will be there. If they get to the goal line, you're freaking right that Eno Benjamin's going to get a carry right up the middle. The opportunities, again, will he be successful? I do not know, but there's going to be so much volume for him that I love the play there. But Jeff Wilson, they're 4-point favorites against the Atlanta Falcons. The fact that TDP Bang is probably back here for the San Francisco 49ers, and what they did with Tevin Coleman this past week, personally stealing multiple of my touchdowns and yours too, Jeff. Talk to your team about this. Those are your touchdowns. Go get them. I know that Jeff Wilson's good. He's in a fantastic matchup. I lean – oh, gosh. I lean Jeff Wilson. No, I'm going to stick with Jeff Wilson. I'm going to take the matchup. They both should see a bunch of volume, and we're not sure if Eno's good or not. So I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson over Eno Benjamin. But don't hear what I'm not saying. Eno Benjamin's currently sitting as my running back 13, but I have Jeff a bit higher. What's next?
All right, Eno or Melvin Gordon expected to play Monday night.
I would take Eno there. The fact of expected to play, beat reporters saying he's going to play. I totally understand if you're a player like, I'm going to risk it, but Eno Benjamin's in such a good position here against the Seahawks. I mean, the points should be flowing. They should be. And I would take that over the prayer of Monday night of just the things that can go wrong between now and Monday for Melvin Gordon. Make Eno get him in there for me. Who's next?
Would you go with Eno over Raheem Mostert since he entered the week questionable, or?
Okay, I mean that's a fair question. So Raheem currently sitting against the Minnesota Vikings. I do have him ranked under Eno Benjamin. Again, ranks are just a piece of the puzzle for people out there. If you support the show, you get our projected points. That's one of your perks. But like the difference between Eno Benjamin at rank 13 and Raheem Mostert, in projected points, it may not be that much. So it's just one of the variables of trying to help people make their decision. So currently, the Dolphins are sitting at an implied total of 21 points. They are home dogs, probably because they have a seventh rounder. They call them undrafted on the broadcast. So that's what we thought we had there was Skyler, but apparently he was drafted. Good for you. But they're home dogs, and I expect that with the Minnesota Vikings, they'll be able to put up points. Can they just fully lean in and try and establish the heck out of the ball in the run? Maybe they won't be able to. So I lean Eno Benjamin a little bit over Raheem Mostert.
All right, one more Eno.
Oh, man, all the Enos.
Yeah, Eno or Daryl Henderson.
Oh, that's Eno Benjamin. That's Eno Benjamin for me. What's going to happen with Cam Akers out? I don't know. It's an exciting thing that we get to watch unfold here. It should be a lot of Daryl Henderson, who it's been relegated to the pass catching running back. He has had success in the past. You go back to last year when Cam Akers was going to be the guy. The Achilles injury happens. Daryl Henderson, a former third-round pick, gets called up, has success, was very good for fantasy football. Against the Carolina Panthers, I believe that they are just massive, massive favorites in this game. Let me pull up these points here. The Rams, 9.5-point favorites. Can the Carolina Panthers rally under their new coach, under Coach Wilkes? Probably not. Probably not. So what was it, Daryl Henderson or Eno? Was that the question?
Yeah.
I lost myself there for a moment. Yeah, it's Eno Benjamin. Again, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen with the Rams. We have a level of confidence that we know how much volume Eno Benjamin's going to get. Who's next?
All right, last one, Mike. Let's get Kenneth Walker in the mix. It's all
baby.
It's all the running backs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about him in the same game versus Eno?
Okay. I love when we are asked a question and I have guys ranked back to back. That makes it just a really good and fun conversation to have. I have Kenneth Walker ranked above Eno Benjamin. Okay, let's work through the process. Kenneth Walker, second-round pick from the Seattle Seahawks, team that they love to be balanced. They love to establish it. Geno Smith is playing fantastic for them right now. He was the second running back in this draft class. Incredible rookie or production profile as a player in college, high draft capital. He's going to be the guy. How many passes will he catch? We're not sure. DJ Dallas probably takes a good amount of that work. I have Walker one spot ahead of Eno right now, but I like those rankings by me a lot because this feels like a coin flip of where I want to go personally with this decision. I think the upside to me is higher for Eno Benjamin over Walker. So if I really need a ton of points, I would go with Eno. If I just need that floor and I'm hoping that my guy gets me 60 and a score, I'd go with Kenneth Walker. So is that all? That's what we got of who's hot, who's not right now?
Yeah, let's get to the people.
Stardom, set 'em.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning, everybody. You're beautiful people. Let's get to these questions here. G Supreme says, Jimmy Garoppolo or Mr. Unlimited? Oh, man, how are we at this point of the season where Russell Wilson, former superstar, I'm playing Jimmy Garoppolo, Brooks.
That was my plan up until I was complaining about Keenan Allen not getting marked out, so I couldn't drop anyone. So I wussed out, and I dropped Jimmy G, and now Russ is back in my lineup. But that was my plan to play.
This face goes for
Jimmy
that, too.
G, but,
when
yeah.
you're starting Jimmy G, this is how you watch the football game. Ha! Ha! But he's playing the Falcons. Russell Wilson, he got the whatever magical shot they get for the injury that he has. I don't know. But he needs to prove to me that he is actually healthy. Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, in a good spot. I would play Jimmy Garoppolo over Mr. Unlimited, which is ridiculous. Oh, my gosh. Matty Sancho says, A.J. Dillon or T. Higgins. Again, I threw out these names that this is a decision that I am personally wrestling with. And it's what do you need, man? That Dillon is a scary play right now because he goes as the workload goes, which that's all up to the coaches. The coaches decided last week this is an Aaron Jones game. It was the lowest snaps of A.J. Dillon's season. It was a really bad output for fantasy football because he wasn't on the field. He's not getting opportunities. Does that completely flip here against the New York Jets? It sounds like it should. But but it is a sketchy thing. This is, if you are a heavy favorite, I'm going A.J. Dillon. But if you're anywhere in like a heads up or you're an underdog, I would risk it, and I would play T. Higgins in that one. For my matchup, I am the heavy favorite due to my roster being outstanding. So that's why I'm a little bit more cautious here with T. Higgins. But it's really, what does your team need when you're making your decision? Jacob Rodriguez says Christian Kirk or Kenneth Walker. Man, I would go with Kenneth Walker. Christian Kirk should see a bunch of opportunities with Marvin Jones out. But we need to see consistent play here from the Jags and from Trevor Lawrence. They have, in the recent past, been able to keep up with the Colts, and no Jonathan Taylor. But I would put Kenneth Walker. I would take the known points there. Michael says Michael Gallup or Zay Jones in a full-point PPR. I do really like Michael Gallup in this matchup, but because of the full-point PPR, that has me lean Zay Jones as the safer play. Fred Mann says Geno Smith or Aaron Rodgers. I have Geno Smith ranked higher. He's more likely to be in a back-and-forth game with the Packers taking on the Jets. And I'm sorry, New York Jets. They haven't shown me, Zach Wilson has not shown me enough that I've bought in that Zach Wilson is competent to keep up with Aaron Rodgers. I apologize. I'm sorry, New York. I want to enjoy your team. I really do. I hope that he prove it to me this week against the Packers, and then we'll talk. Let's see. Austin Rudd says Rondale or Wan'Dale. You got to go with Rondale in that particular matchup. But again, Wan'Dale Robinson should be the stash of the week. TheFantasyFootballers.com. That's where the rankings are. Go check them out. And I'm going to get out of here on this one. Let's see. It was no, I missed it. It's gone. I apologize. Well, you don't even know. I don't know why I'm saying that out loud. But here we go. Last one is Zachary says Pittman or James Robinson in a PPR. I'm going with Michael Pittman. The PPR, he's a wide receiver. That makes it a little bit easier for me. Plus, James Robinson rocked those first 3 weeks, but we kind of gave the victory to player versus Achilles. I think we may have spoken just too soon. Cam Akers on the trading block. James Robinson looking not great for the past few weeks. I'm very concerned here about James Robinson. I hope I'm wrong to have that concern, but PPR makes that a little bit easier that you can go with Michael Pittman. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, thefantasyfootballers.com. Get those rankings. I'm going to get back into the laboratory and make sure they're where I wanted to be. Keep them tight, keep them right. I wish you nothing but the best. Keep it beautiful. Mwah!